It's another South African show, and we're going to be discussing the crunch talks that went down at the Oval Office between President Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa. And with me to discuss that is Mustafa, Alex, and Kule Williams. You guys are welcome to another South African show.
All right, welcome. So there's so many things to start with. Let's start with the beginning. So what I mean by the beginning, let's start off with the headline. Ramaphosa ambushed by Trump. Okay, so he was ambushed in the sense that Trump brings up the case about so many white people getting killed. So I'm concerned about all the farmers. They're white, but the race doesn't matter. I'm concerned about all these farmers that are getting killed in your country. And he brings out pictures of people that were supposedly killed and crosses and graveyards. Come to find out, a lot of those pictures were refugees in Congo. And Ramaphosa didn't say, oh, this is not us. Ramaphosa didn't even look at the pictures. My point being is that was just printed. They said, oh, yeah, print something quickly. This whole thing is a joke. Ramaphosa was there, and he didn't even challenge Trump to say. He just said, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong." If you were really going to challenge him, wouldn't you have brought the statistics? Me, if Trump was going to call me and challenge me on genocide, I will give him the crime statistics and say, okay, look, last year 600 white people were killed in South Africa and 25,000 blacks. He gave no statistics. He gave no arguments. He allowed Trump to walk all over him. And my argument is the reason he did that is that it was just staged. Because overall, the meeting was pretty cordial. If you look
Because
at the whole
Trump doesn't
meeting,
believe in statistics.
yeah, but it
Fake
doesn't matter.
news.
It doesn't matter.
You
It
are
doesn't
fake
matter.
news. That's all
Yeah,
Trump will say to
yeah,
his
but you know Trump. But here's the thing: Trump does believe in statistics, but Trump is a performer. Just like me now, I'm wearing a Trump hat. Do you think I really believe in Trump? I'm a performer. It's what gets people to watch and listen and market. I've seen videos of Trump. They asked Trump, what do you think about Mike Tyson? He said, well, I wasn't there when what happened between him and the woman, so I can't speak to it because I don't have enough knowledge. But I know Tyson and I know he's a good person. The point I'm making is that Trump is a chess player, very analytical, very smart, but he has staged shows to get where he needs to get. And now he's the president of the most powerful country in the world, and his children will be billionaires. He's smarter than all of us. He's smarter than all of us. He knows more statistics than all of us, or he wouldn't have reached that place. Someone who lost election and came back and won again. Don't be fooled by these people. All of these people are rich. Obama, Trump, they all have high IQs. We're suffering to pay our electricity. They're rich. They are showmen. That's the definition of a psychopath. A psychopath can disarm you and make you think he's stupid. Trump is not stupid. Everything he does is staged and for money, and he's done a very good job. What do you think, Alex? Yeah.
Honestly, Ramaphosa handled that meeting like a pro.
Yeah, I
Like,
think he did well. He did
Trump,
well. Yeah.
yeah, Trump came in swinging with all these wild, white genocide claims, clearly
Yeah.
trying to bait him. But Ramaphosa didn't lose his cool for a second. He stayed calm,
Yeah.
laid out the facts that crime affects everyone in South Africa, and didn't let Trump's nonsense derail the whole thing. It was like watching
Yeah.
someone skilled at diffusing drama while still standing their ground.
Yeah. And Ramaphosa is also a psychopath. What I mean is that he doesn't let his emotions get control of him. He stays calm, and he brought in his business people. Look how he turned it on Trump. Trump said that you're killing white people. Ramaphosa said the leader of the DA, which is the Afrikaners, are here,
Yeah,
is here with
Stephen
me. And
Hayden or something.
Rupert, the richest man in Africa, maybe one of the richest men in the world, was there.
Yeah,
He said, if these guys really believe that whites are being killed, they won't be here with me. And those guys
definitely.
came with him because this is a business meeting between him and Trump. And yesterday was for the ratings. They make tons of money from that. And that's why we're doing a show on it now. All of these guys are brilliantly smart. But I will give Ramaphosa, because Ramaphosa is not like Zelensky. Zelensky said, I will respect you. They said, will you respect us? I promise I would respect you. Just give me money. Ramaphosa didn't do that. And that's why it didn't devolve into the spectacle that Trump with Ukraine, because we all know that Zelensky is a cocaine using idiot. You know, he's a cocaine addict. I'm not joking. He's a clown. He was a comedian before. Ramaphosa is very smart. He's been around since the days of the apartheid. He was an activist. He settled some things that happened in KwaZulu Natal. So he's a seasoned statesman, and he handled it well. Although, the only thing I'm saying is that he didn't really fight back when Trump was giving those statistics. But Ramaphosa said something. They said, what can you say to get Trump to agree? He said, I've already spoken, so I don't need to say anymore. He just needs to listen to what I say. But Trump wasn't
Was
listening.
giving
What are
Trump
your
gentle
thoughts, Afolabi?
parenting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
No, I was saying it was like watching a mother and her child, like Ramaphosa was there gently parenting Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, yeah. I give. That's why Ramaphosa is still the president of South Africa, because Zuma and Becky didn't last, because Ramaphosa is calm enough and knows how to play everybody, and he doesn't make enemies. He's very calm. Because if he had
Yeah.
tried to defend himself and gotten angry, it would have turned into a freak show. What do you think of Falabi? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he was composed. He articulated his points very clearly, chief of which was criminal violence in South Africa affects all races and not just whites.
Yeah.
And he mentioned the fact that land
Yeah.
expropriation is constitutional. And the whole idea of the expropriation was to address historical injustice and inequalities, which was
Yeah.
favoring the Afrikaner whites. So he articulated his points well, and he was also able to navigate the fact that most of what Trump was receiving was propaganda to support
Yeah.
his rhetoric
Yeah.
for the white
Mm-hmm.
Afrikaners. And if you look at the black lady that was also in the press conference,
Losi Kosatu president. Yeah.
yeah, he mentioned the fact that South Africa cannot afford to lose foreign direct investment, especially the African Growth and Agriculture Act, which was really helping them, that they are going to lose about 500,000 jobs, which is going to harm a lot of South Africans. So she was able to, divert the discussion to their own favor, and that really helped. And at the end of the day, they were talking about how they can help South Africa to combat crime and violence. And statistics shows really that there's a lot of crime and violence in South Africa, which is
Yeah.
not targeted at one race. It is basically
No.
targeted at everybody, and it's because
Yeah.
of poverty. So I
Yeah.
think he prepared well, and he did a good job
Yeah. And he
yeah.
brought a support team with him.
Yeah,
Losi
very
the
strong
Kosatu
team, a very
brought
strong
Rupert, who's the richest guy in
negotiating,
South Africa,
very strong
brought Rupert
negotiating team.
and brought people there. And going back to what you said, so because they diffused Trump, because Trump stayed quiet for like 10 minutes when Losi and Rupert spoke. Losi said that the crime problem in South Africa is due to poverty and lack of jobs. And she now used
Yes.
that to pivot to say that what South Africa needs is employment and economic, and then to attack crime. And then she pivoted, but this is where the money comes in, because her and both her and Rupert both said that South Africa needs uh, Elon Musk's satellites to fight crime.
And Tesla
I
and
was
Tesla
like,
cars and
what
Tesla
is
cars.
Starlink gonna do?
Yeah,
They need
they
these
said that.
Tesla cars to fight crime.
Rupert said that. Rupert said, he even looked at Steve. He said, "Look at you. You're always shouting about Cape Town, but Cape has the highest violence." So what he was doing good cop, bad cop. He was attacking his own people. He was attacking a white man, telling him that you brag about Cape Town, but Cape Town has violence. But also, Steve is in it because this is a ploy. You know, it's a ploy where you say, "Look at these white people. They're attacking themselves. They're not racist." You understand what I'm saying? What he did was very sophisticated, because Rupert is rich, and I always say, "Oh, he's a rich white guy who thinks that black people are animals." And but Rupert said that the crime in South Africa affects blacks more than anybody, and it's a general problem. And he even said that his children have cottages and farms in South Africa, and he leaves the door unlocked. So he's trying to say, "I'm not worried." So he's trying to say black people aren't attacking. So that diffuses what Trump says about, oh, white people are getting killed. Then they said the problem is that we need satellites, and we need Elon Musk's satellites. This whole trip is about business, and you can believe that Trump is going to get a part of it. What do you think, Alex? Then we're going to Kunle. What do you think? Do you agree or not? Yeah, yeah,
Definitely. I mean, they have to pay homage to the person who's actually pulling the strings, which is Elon Musk.
yeah.
He's the
Yeah,
actual
Elon Musk is
person
the one pulling all of these. Yeah,
it's like, when you go to church, you have to pay your tithe, you have to acknowledge God.
God.
So they had to
Yeah,
acknowledge Elon Musk and claim that we need him.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
And
the main guy
even
behind all
Trump
this.
acknowledged, because you know what Trump said? Trump said Elon Musk is over there, but I won't bring him into this discussion because it's not appropriate, because he's here he's here as a business person. It's not appropriate for me to bring him into this debate. Elon Musk didn't speak, because if Elon Musk spoke, he'd say, "You see, Elon Musk wants some money." He kept quiet and didn't say anything. You have the richest man in South Africa who's white speaking. Then you have Kosatu. Kosatu is sort of like a social. Kosatu is labor movement, right, in South
Yeah,
Africa,
yeah,
Alex,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then
She's
you have a black woman who's
yeah.
supposed to be on the. You have a black woman who's on the left, standing to a right wing white guy who's rich, and they're both agreeing. Do you see the way South Africa managed this thing? So what you have is that it makes it look like the blacks and the whites get together, and they're in harmony and there's not a genocide going on in the country. Then they switch it around and say we need police, we need technology, we need it from you, Trump. So now they're kissing Trump's ass, and because Trump is the president and he has to sign off on the agreements. They say we need your help, and of course. So I think they did a brilliant job. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, it looked to me, I mean, when I was looking at the personalities from a different standpoint, it was the Gulf War because I saw Gary Player, Ernie Els, and Retief Goosen. I think Ernie Els and Retief Goosen were there to calm and allay Trump that, look, your white golfing buddies from South Africa are also saying that this is all the nonsense. I think that's what played on him to calm down so that even if he still wanted to attack Ramaphosa, he wanted to do it in a more refined and less abrasive manner that he did with Zelensky, which I think was brought about by the Gulf War, of those there. I did see on a certain other footage that I saw that there were placards or epitaphs that were put up to the victims of these attacks on the farms, and there are plenty Black people on the list, and it's just basically armed robbery. It's just basically crime, as crime happens in every single part of the world. And they're trying to make it seem like once it happened, well, any white person who is a victim of crime is a victim of genocide. I think that's what they were trying to gaslight. There's this discrepancy. Yes.
It's also
there's
crazy.
This discrepancy in the West where if they hear of
those 49,
if they hear of 7 white aid workers killed, they'll call it a massacre. But on a Tuesday, 7 make the news because they had that disjointed value of life. And that was what they were using to claim there was genocide. So that was well discounted from me. Unfortunately, not so well on the internet.
Yeah, well, here's what I think. All of that is bullshit. Let me tell you. They just used that as a precursor to put pressure on South Africa. I don't know what it is Trump really wants or what Elon Musk really wants. What they're saying is that we won't do business with you. They put more pressure to make South Africa to have more advantage on this trade that they're going to do with them. What do you think, Afolabi? You understand? You see what I'm trying to say? I don't think Trump cares. I don't think any of them really believe there's a genocide in South Africa. They're using it for 2 reasons. Part of it is so that Elon Musk can get his little revenge in South Africa, make South Africa look bad. But part of it is just as a negotiating tactic. And there's also bigger issues because the U.S. is trying to kick out Black people and stuff. So they'll bring in white people as immigrants and kick out the Mexicans and the Africans so that they can build a white country again. That's a separate story, but it's very complex. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's what they're trying to do. And all this is about American interest and business. But at the end of the day, whatever it is that, whatever deal they're going to agree on, I think is going to happen behind cameras. And I don't think the media will cover it. I feel that Ramaphosa should introspectively look at how he can begin to form trade alliances with some other countries to help develop them internally and not depend on it. Because if this AGOA, this agricultural growth and stuff is taking off, there should be some kind of soft landing for them. They should try and build trade alliances, maybe with China,
here's what I believe,
India, and maybe Russia, so that at least US cannot always this like bullying South Africa basically is a tactical way of bullying South Africa, really. It's hard to go to the US and
but I do think here's what I really believe. This is not a trade visit. This is a business deal. South Africa does trade with BRICS, but the problem is that Ramaphosa and the DA and Rupert, all 3 of them, Steenhuisen, the DA represents white businesses in South Africa, and it also represents white businesses in the world. Rupert is one of the richest men in the world. He's a businessman. So what this is that apart from BRICS, this is their own personal deal. This is a deal for Rupert to make money, for what's his name, Ramaphosa to make money, for Elon Musk to make money, and for Steenhuisen to make money. So they're making it seem like they're going there to do trade and everything. So they say, oh, agriculture. They don't care about agriculture. What they care about is signing that deal with Elon Musk. That's what this whole trip is about. And the first of usually you won't even televise a Trump meeting with an African leader. The only reason he televised this meeting is because this is big business and it's tied to Elon Musk's um, his own interest. You see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So all I'm saying is that what the South Africa is doing is that they're using the government to say, oh, we're going on a trip that's important for South Africa. No, it's important for their personal businesses. What did you notice? Rupert was standing over the president and over everybody as if he was the boss. It was clear that the president of South Africa is Rupert. No,
Definitely.
no, he's the president of South Africa. If you look at the body language, he is the president. Once he came in, everybody kept quiet. Even Trump. Rupert is richer than Trump. And if you look at the dynamics, he was standing up, all of them were sitting down. It was almost like he is God. What do you think, Alex? Yeah.
You know, so while Rupert's presence might have brought some balance against the fake genocide that's narrative, it also highlights the conversation around South Africa is shaped by powerful economic players. We have their own agendas. So this isn't about race or politics. Like you said, it's about money
Yeah.
and who really benefits when these narratives get pushed. So like you say, that scene says a lot without words. Rupert standing while everyone else, including Trump, sat down, felt like a power move, or maybe a
Yeah.
sign that he was carrying the weight of the room. Rupert's
Yeah.
wealth and
He's the
influence.
patriarch. He's the patriarch.
Yeah, his wealth definitely overshadows Trump's in some ways, and that posture could have been showing who's really in control. You know,
Yeah, he was in control
it's almost
because
like everyone holding it together.
even Ramaphosa was like, yes, yes, yes. And he pointed at Steenhuisen and said, Steenhuisen, you have a problem in Cape Town. So he was stamping his authority. And he doesn't mind saying that, oh, denying the genocide thing, because for him, he doesn't care about white people. He cares about his money. Then standing
Yeah.
beside him, he also had standing beside him a black woman. Look at the optics. The Kosatu woman was standing beside him. So it also makes it look like, oh, I'm not racist. And she's a leftist. She's supposed to be going against capitalism. And she's standing behind him. And she said, we have an economic problem. So what it was, this was perfect manipulation and propaganda. What do you think, Afalabi?
I think, oh, okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was dramatic.
An old white man beside a black woman, because we all know, like right now, oh, people hate black women are left. The people who actually had the prominent position in there was a black South African woman and a white man. They brought her there because they need to have a woman on the left who's supposed to stand for what EFF stands for, and to make them look like they're okay. And they need to show, see, we're not racist. Black women has a very powerful position in our country. What do you think, Afolabi?
Personally, I think everything was rehearsed. I think it
Or
was
it was
rehearsed. And at the end of the day, most of what Lucy talked about, especially foreign direct investment, America are going to do her bidding. But they also are going to enter into a lot of business deals that will involve how to bring down the crime rate in South Africa, because that is unequivocally a problem in South Africa. Whether it is the whites or
yeah.
blacks, they have to find a way of bringing down the crime rate,
But here's the thing.
for business to
But here's the
thrive.
thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They want to bring down crime by bringing electronic surveillance. It doesn't work in the U.S. They're going to make money off this electronic surveillance. The only way you're going to bring down crime in South Africa is for South African wealth to produce jobs and things. There's no point trying to police crime if you don't create jobs, if you don't spend money on schools and everything. They won't do that. That's why I'm saying this whole thing is a setup. It's just so that they can make billions. And most of this satellite technology will be used for white people and upper middle class black people.
Yeah, sure.
What do you
Not
think,
poor
Kule?
people.
What do you think,
Not poor
Kule?
people.
Yeah, I was going to say that what I also saw with this meeting was an image cleansing. If you remember when we had Black Lives Matter, the response was all lives matter. When black people talked about slavery, white people talked about indentured servitude. Now we have genocide in Palestine. Now they want to say, oh, there's a genocide in Africa. So we're all the same, because I think also they want to push away, because the world is actually slowly beginning to realize that Israel are the bad guys and America armed them. And I think Trump is trying to pull away from that image, that bad image that he has, to say that, look, you guys are doing it too. We're not that bad, and then just confuse all the facts and the truth and everything, disassociate yourself and not look like you're the bad guys. I think that there's a sort of image cleansing effort that Trump is trying to do not only for himself, but also for the West, and also vis-a-vis the Democrats who were made a complete mess of Gaza when they were in power. They acted more like the far right than the far right did. And I think that that's another thing that Trump is trying to image cleanse and sort of post a defense before the ICC and the ICJ, because I think he's also afraid of what South Africa trying to do there, trying to blunt that attack as well by putting the accusation on the accusers. So I think there's a part of that because Trump always likes to call himself a counterpuncher, and I think that's what he was trying to do there.
Yeah, but I even think, see, I'm more cynical than you. This whole thing was staged. I even believe that they all met. They had people talking to them to tell them how it was going to play out, how everything was going to play out.
I would be terrified if Bola Tinubu had to have some kind of conversation with Donald Trump. That would be Saturday Night Live stuff, because that man is
Yeah, but here's the question. So here's the
I
question.
don't know what he is.
Think about
Tinubu. I don't know
think
what
about
it is, but
Think
it
about
would be absolutely hilarious to see
But here's the
him
thing:
and Trump face off.
Trump's time is very precious. He's just not going to meet with somebody just to insult them. He's meeting with people because he needs something from them.
Ramaphosa has oratory skill. You know, he has some oratory skill and ability, and it came off in what little I saw of the interview. Trump is a performer. He's all about the optics. He's
a showman.
He's an entertainer. He's a showman. So that's his skill. I'm not saying that he's dumb, but he's not as smart as you think.
This meeting was made.
He's not knowledgeable. He might be intelligent, but he's not
but
very
remember, he's
knowledgeable.
also a businessman. He's also a businessman, and it's clear the reason that they had this meeting was there was only one reason: business. And you have to remember without Elon Musk, Trump would not have got elected. Elon Musk funded Trump's elections, so Trump is not going to mess up. Trump is not going to mess up, even though Trump likes attention.
Yeah, Trump's.
Hold on, even though Trump likes attention, he's not going to mess up something that is going to feed his family and something that's controlled by somebody who helped him get elected. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that Trump took this meeting seriously also, because if he doesn't, he's going to be at odds with Elon Musk and other people.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I'm just saying that his best strength is that showmanship. It's not so much genius, but it's showmanship.
Oh, yeah.
And he will have a plan, and he'll have how he wants to execute it. And what he uses is not his intelligence, it's his showmanship, his optics. He's always like, that'll make some good TV. That's his biggest, for me. He just reminds me of Better Call Saul when he says things like that. I mean, that's the
but here's the question. Look at him, intelligence that he has. Whatever it is he has, it's genius. He's a genius. There are different types of geniuses. Whatever it is, he's a genius, because he beat Hillary Clinton. He lost to Biden. Have you ever heard of someone starting off, they never had history as a politician, then they become president of the U.S., then they lose and they get the country to re-elect them again? No.
Yeah, that's the first time that's happened.
I
don't think any president has done that.
No.
Because of that, it seems like he's been in power for 12 years. It makes him look like the longest lasting president. Because Biden, Sleepy Joe was hardly awake for most of it, and for half of the presidency, they were killing innocent people. So it almost looked, and Trump was so vocal in opposition. He was so vocal in opposition during that time, the January 6th, Sleepy Joe, all of that. He was so vocal. It almost felt like he hadn't really left. It seemed like he's been in power since Obama. That's how I feel.
Yeah, so we're going to head out. We're going to do another show on Sunday because I'm running out of time. I have to go to work. Any last thoughts, Alex, before we head out? Yeah.
At the end of the day, that meeting was a clash between fear-mongering and facts of Ramaphosa's showing why calm, informed leadership matters. Trump tried to push a narrative that fits certain political agendas, but Ramaphosa didn't let it stick. South Africa's real problems like crime, inequality, and femicide deserve attention, not fake headlines. So the takeaway, don't get distracted.
Yeah, don't get distracted. And also notice that they didn't talk. They just discounted EFF. They said that he's a big problem. That the big problem in South Africa, when it comes to the
when you say that scary things happening in Africa,
is Julius Malema.
I'm sure
say that
Malema will react
exaggerated.
soon.
They
I'm sure
make it sound like
Malema will
He
Abia
react.
is on
did.
fire all the time.
He did on Twitter.
Oh,
so
he
he
did
does.
on
So we'll
Twitter.
talk about
Okay.
Malema's reaction on Sunday. All right, I thought I'd take us out. Yeah.
Another brilliant South African show. We've been discussing Donald Trump's crunch talks with Cyril Ramaphosa, and from Alex, Mustafa, and Kule Williams. We'll be back next time.
Thank you. Nice one.